Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Come on, smile. I know you want to be here, right?
Absolutely.
I'll be that way. So I'm David McGowan, and I'm a senior consultant with Acetech. I was here when you first got your road safety system, and this is kind of the exact same thing that I did. So my role with the company is that when somebody purchases our Acetech system, I come in the back end and I do a lot of training. I do a lot of other things, consulting side, but primarily I do a lot of training. I've been doing this for Acetech for about 4.5 years. Before this, I was with road safety. And before that, I was actually in EMS for a real long time. A few pictures here. When I started off in EMS, we were just talking about it. I started in the ambulance, Cadillac ambulance. And that's the exact one up there in the left-hand corner. Throughout my EMS career, all the way up to a paramedic. I was a flight paramedic, was injured on the job and finished my graduate degree. And then I became a director for a very large hospital-based service in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We did about 80,000 patient transports a year. And it was there that I ended up moving over to becoming a consultant, which was probably one of the best moves that I ever made, because I absolutely love what I do. So I've been in EMS for a real long time. Acetech is a global company. We're literally all over the world. I think the only place that we're really not deeply embedded is in Asia, but that's going to change. We have some countries that every single ambulance has Acetech installed in it. Some of the most prestigious ambulance services in the world are using Acetech. London Ambulance Service is one. Kind of the big notables here in the United States, we have AMR, we have Priority, and we have Falk, and we're actually growing with Falk right now, very large. We're on a gigantic growth curve right now. We started off a little slow, trying to get name recognition, but right now we are literally exploding in growth. The company's goal is, and we call it Vision Zero, and zero deaths and injuries from ambulance crashes, because we feel that our system, and just like the road safety, which from Zoll, which is not made anymore, we're the only ones that are doing this. We truly believe, and we have the research to prove, that by utilizing a proactive driver feedback system and using it well, does reduce preventable crashes. You reduce preventable crashes, you reduce injuries, and you also then reduce fatalities with that. Oh, you want to hit it again, Mike? So today, or this morning while we're here, there's going to be two parts of this. The first part is going to be ambulance safety. You're just going to get a presentation on ambulance safety. For some of you that were probably here when I was here last, it's a little bit of a repeat. It's been changed up a little bit. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll get into the actual Acetech system, what it is, how it works, and then what you're going to be held responsible for. If you've ever been using road safety, you know the system, you know how it works. That's why last night's session went so fast, because most everybody knows the road safety. So, but I'm just going to be talking about maybe some of the little differences between road safety and Acetech, but it's not that great, but I think it's important to highlight that. So I think we went an hour and a half. Usually this is 2 hours, a little bit more than 2 hours, but we'll get you out of here pretty quick this morning. Ambulance safety, everybody goes home safe. The number one killer of paramedics and EMTs is from ambulance crashes. The number one thing that's going to get you a critical, serious injury, a permanent disability, is from a crash. And we crash ambulances at a rate that is basically, it is so high right now that we have to do something to affect change. So while I got you here, we're going to dive into ambulance safety. We're going to talk about some case studies, and I'm going to have actually 3 different case studies. 2 of them came from my service, And another case study actually came from another service in Minneapolis, St. Paul, where I'm from and where I spent my career. We'll get into some research. I'm not going to go deep into the research, but I'm just going to kind of highlight it at 50,000 foot level of what the research is showing us. And then we're going to look at some human factors. And the thing about human factors is that the safest ambulance on the road today isn't rolling on the road. It's sitting out here in your garage. Okay. It's when you put a person behind the wheel, then it becomes a very, very dangerous vehicle. And I'm going to show some human factors that are causes for crashes. And then we're going to talk about ergonomics, and specifically ergonomics in the patient compartment. When I was here last, and Jeremy was telling me, I was showing him pictures of what I consider to be in the patient department to be a really safe design that can help keep paramedics and EMTs safe in the event of a crash. And I was pleasantly surprised when Jeremy brought me out and says, well, Dave, when you were here last, I kind of took that heat and we changed this up, and then we went to this one, and then we went to this one. So your newest one is actually a great design. Really is very, very good on that. So we'll go into that a little bit. I think it's important for you to know it's not what I do, it's why I do it. I didn't wake up one day in my office and say, hey, you know what? I want to get into ambulance safety. Okay, I think I'm going to do that. No, that wasn't the case for me. Unfortunately, we had to have a sentinel event that caused me to get into ambulance safety. And sometimes that's what happens with a lot of my clients. They're not proactive. Some are proactive, like here, you're very proactive. I get a lot of that from hospital-based services, but sometimes they have to have an event and then they become reactive to that. And now they have to do something. And that's exactly the situation I was in. I was reactive on that. I'm going to show you a video right here. And in this video, you are going to see a picture of a gal. She was an EMT with my service. Actually, she went there after I had left. You'll see what looks like a parade in downtown Minneapolis. It's not a parade. They're actually escorting this girl's body to the funeral home from the medical examiner's office. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that one, kind of more on the back end of this section right here. So let's go ahead and play it. With the exception of Marina there, Shalene, all those other people in those photographs, I all knew very well. They all work with me. A lot of them were managers and supervisors. And it was unfortunate. I wish I could have been there. I was traveling at the time of that. But yeah, that was very, very, very sad. But we'll kind of get into that more on the back end and kind of tell you what happened, transpired with that. So when we get into the human factors, as I mentioned before, it's not until you get behind the wheel that it becomes very unsafe. And statistics has proven time and time again, it really doesn't matter who performs the research. It's all coming up and it's all coming to the same conclusions that an ambulance really is one of the most dangerous vehicles on the roadway. This is a case from my service, and I call it disengaged to safety. We were having many crashes, and for a 16-month, I think it was 16-month period, we were averaging 1.5 preventable crashes per month. 1.5 preventable crashes a month. Now, we had 65 ambulances. We did like close to 80,000 transports, close to 3 million miles traveled. So yeah, the frequency, okay, was there, but still totally unacceptable number. You can see that we totaled ambulances, we injured staff, we injured patients. You know, remember in EMS, we always say do no harm to the patient, okay? Well, we end up injuring patients. We paid out a lot of money in deductibles, legal claims, crash-related expenses. Our insurance rate was going through the roof, and then our worker compensation rates were also going up. During that particular time right there, about $400,000 literally came off the bottom line. And that's a lot of money to come off the bottom line right there. So when I say disengage to safety started right at the top, right at my level, and it went all the way down to the bottom. Okay, even my medical director was basically disengaged. Okay, every Tuesday mornings we would have a meeting. All our admin team would get together, and then we find out, oh yeah, we had a crash over the weekend. Oh, okay. We lulled ourselves into believing that that was the cost of doing business. You put that many miles on your vehicle, you're going to have crashes. And we felt that was acceptable. It was acceptable to have crashes. It was acceptable to have patient injuries. It was acceptable to have staff injuries.